Do you know what? Buying your maple from your nursery, cutting all the branches back, cutting all the roots back, well, do you know what? That's the easy bit. The real work starts now. And to find out exactly what you need to do to really push your nursery stock material on towards the path of being a true bonsai, and indeed similarly with your yamadori stock, your local stuff that you've dug up from your garden or from a local dig site, you've taken all the roots off, you cut the trunks back, you've cut the branches back, and then you're faced with the real task of turning this into a bonsai. There's loads to consider. Wound healing, taper, trunk thickness, ramification. But if you want to see and learn and find out what exactly is required, then keep watching for part 2. Hiya, it's Xavier. Welcome to my bonsai retreat, and right now it's the 22nd of June 2025. 35 degrees, something like that, absolutely baking hot. And right here in front of me I've got a hazel that was dug up from Nursery back in November 2025. Now you can see clearly that it survived the rigours of a heavy root prune and indeed quite heavy trunk reductions and branch reductions. We've got a few vibrant shoots, and we've got a general idea of what the tree is going to be looking like. That's good. We've got to take that a lot further forward, and indeed we've got to do the same with this hazel as well, which looks like it's actually 2 trunks. Went in really heavy down there. Again, there's a video all about the Nursery dig. You'll find it in the description. Unlike the one you've just seen, these still need to be removed and picked, and again I'll go through the process of what I do to select what will be the new primary branches, because that's all I'm interested in right now. Primary branches, taper, wound healing and deadwood, and anything else that comes to mind. There's this one too. This one is really interesting. Had to take a big root off there. If you look in there, we've got a short stump there and still a long area here. Again, already I'm looking at it, I'm going, there's going to be some taper issues which I may have to deal with right now. Lots and lots of shoots. Once they get removed, we'll be able to see that very much easier. And then of course we will need to do the same with the Osakazuki maple, which was a nursery plant that I picked up in late 2025, and it was in February of 2026 that I did all the work on this. But again, we're going to have to look at where the taper is. Potentially, are we going to be removing entire branches and try and grow these little shoots? Lots of things to see. So, shall we get started with the hazel? Now, it's not my intention to repeat exactly the same process in front of you with all 4 trees. What I'm going to do is pick an individual tree that'll have a different feature that we need to deal with. So this one is all about clearing away the rubbish, getting rid of everything you don't need. And that is always the thing you should first do. So we have a look around, and first of all we've got to go straight to the base and say, darn those suckers, don't need those. As part of the process of getting rid of everything you don't need, you're probably going to have a rough idea of where you think your front's going to be. It's not ultimately important, but I need to have a feel for it, because the stuff that I remove here at this stage could depend entirely on the front I pick. Looking around, very short base here, thick there. There's a great big root here, that would have to be removed, but I like this branch that comes out towards us here. So we've got this also leaning towards us generally, so I like this. I just need to remove this great big noggin here, and that would be the other one. What I don't like with this front is this big branch here is almost going out parallel to it. So I think I'd be working on the assumption that that is going to be my front somewhere around there. And with that in mind, I then need to remove anything that's on the inside or coming inwards. Junctions, don't know yet. That's an outward one, don't know, so keep 2. And again, when I'm looking at this principle, a bit like here, I've got 1, 2 from the same point, in terms of getting rid of stuff we don't need, I need to pick one of them. That's why understanding the front, probably I'm going to go for the stronger one. So let's remove this one. We've got 1, 2, big heavy one here. Not sure about that one. Not sure about that one. Then we follow around here. Look here, we've got 3. Really, I like the way this one's coming away, so I'm actually going to be removing these 2 here. This is going to be a problematic branch for sure, but you take that from the front, potentially push it out. It may well be that I'll take this further back, but we'll have a look at that on another tree. Got a great big fat one here, that's 1. Got that one on that side, that's 2, so we're all right with there for now. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 at the top there. What I want is the 2 strongest. I'm not going to be running on a single trunk upwards, so this one, if the line's going straight up here, that is absolutely no good to me at all from my perspective. So I'm going to get rid of that one. I think I'm going to go for this one because it takes it off to the left. I'm going to remove that one. I've got 2 at the back. It's actually a little bit lower, and for now that might serve another purpose, and we'll see that in another tree, but it's all to do with that stump there. So that's step 1. We've removed everything that we don't need, we've got rid of suckers, and we've basically reduced it to no more than 2 from a single point or junction to create that initial primary structure. Where I go next with them, well, we'll see in a minute. But why not? Let's have a look at another tree to talk about the next big problem, which is taper. And again, if you're going to do things, earlier you do them, the better. And I think this second hazel demonstrates the second point, taper, and looking at dealing with early. And I say we deal with it early, because if we're going to do any more big shots, if you look at the thickness of the branches down here, this would be a second trunk. So the primary that comes off it are these ones. I would argue that lower down, they need to be at least half the circumference that we've got here. And equally, as we follow this up, we look, it's absolutely pencil straight all the way up. And on top of that, there's another problem with it. It's pretty well parallel to the main trunk. So I've got to make a decision anyway. To remove that parallel aspect, I would have to cut it all the way back down to here, or indeed remove it. So for my desired front and my design for the future, I know I need to cut that so there's no more really. Well, let's have a look. We cut it here. It's better. We don't see, they actually seem to be diverging. So might just go a little bit shorter. Okay, I'm happy to leave it there. What I'm looking for now is shoots to come from here and provide something this side. This still allows me, as I say, shoots to come out, but I may actually later on, as this tree develops, decide, no, I don't want it. The reason why I do want it is because it does actually give a little bit of reason for sap and everything to come around this side of this wound here. Now, we've got to look at this great big long length here. Again, very long, absolutely no taper, and I'm going to deal with this now. A lot of people say, why are you going on and on about taper? If you look at trees in the wild, they don't have issues with taper. And sometimes it's easy if we look at a tree at this point, but you've got to look over the whole length. We're trying to miniaturize this and make it look like a sort of 60, 70 foot tree. The way we do that is to give a perhaps false impression of aging. We do that through the taper effect. So it makes it look like consecutive years, new shoots have come up and new leaves have taken over. Yes, you can look at big trees in nature and there's great big long sections and it's all the same. But if you look over the whole length of the tree, often you can see through your eye that it tapers. We're trying to create that effect. And yes, it's a little bit false the way we do it, but that's the reason why I certainly will go on and on about taper, certainly in field collected stock, which cost me nothing. So this one, again, I've got to decide, is this the main branch? Is this going to be the main trunk? And then this one here, because we've got some nice, dare I use the word again to annoy anyone, taper going on there. In fact, there's a front even, potentially even more around here if you look at that. I quite like that actually. So with that in mind, I probably need to bring that, if that's going to be the main trunk for me, I need to bring that down to probably so that sort of height. Okay, that brings that down. It's unlikely that we'll use that because that's going to come across the front of the tree. Not sure, I think that's too high. Take it down further. Okay, yeah, fine. I went a little bit further. I've taken that down. As I reduced it, it became less and less appealing and attractive. I've kept the whole lot, or I could see myself in the end probably removing all of it. I need a fine bladed saw to do that. I just now want to see, the reason why I'm holding off is I want to see what, if anything, comes from here. Now, my solution most definitely isn't everyone's ideal solution. That's the joy of doing this hobby. So I've looked there, follow it up. You would argue that's probably pretty similar and I could do with a bud lower down, but for now, they're the two big ones. Even that one probably needs to come down lower now. But I'll leave that for now. We've got this, and I'm going to actually just leave this. I'm happy with the transition from there to there, the relative size of that one to that one, and going further up. Well, we have actually got one issue, and that's here. We want to reduce that, so we've actually got a shoot here and a shoot on the other side. Let's remove that. And then we use this to grow on, and the one at the back. Which means this one really needs to be brought right back as well. Now, we've done taper, we've done unwanted shoots. We'll do the primary and secondary branch selection on the maple. But let's deal with wound healing, shall we? And in particular, things like this, deadwood. Okay, well, we've got this great monster here. You can't see the deadwood work that I'm talking about, so let me clear this up first and bring it to the stage that the other one was at. And then I'll show you exactly what we do with the deadwood and indeed the wound healing. What I've done is I've really cut everything right back. We've got just the shoots that I want to look at for future. I'm actually looking at the front more around here. There is an issue with some conflict between those branches there, but I can see something, a sort of nice little show in there. The original idea obviously was the front was going to be in here, taking advantage of what is, there's two dead areas, split just down here, which goes all the way down there. You've probably got half that trunk width that's actually attached to the tree, which is feeding these two shoots. The main area was this one here, which was a root that was pulled away, and I filled it with petroleum jelly, and it's done an excellent job of covering it over. What I now need to do is get all that petroleum jelly out and clean this out so that we can actually have a look and treat it properly. It's oil based, so a bit sticky. Yeah, there's a downside to using petroleum jelly for sure. But you can see that that's the stump itself. I just want to get sure that we haven't got anything that's rotting. I want to open it up a little bit. I want to try and get its live vein material so that it starts to roll over. I also want to make sure that this gap here is opened up a lot more. It looks like it's probably going to come away actually. There we go. And what you notice there, and smelling it, there's what you call the smell of mushrooms. And that means that there's fungus and mold getting in there, which is the reason why you need to do such work on cleaning this up. This is so important because although there may be rotting happening, if you can get hold of it early and start the treatment, then you are going to avoid, 2-3 years down the line, finding that your tree that you've worked so hard to develop a trunk and primary and secondary structure is actually slowly rotting from within. Now, it's really difficult to demonstrate as I was doing it. What I've done is I've cleaned out and tried to get rid of any loose material from inside, checking to see if any of this is rotten. Where it's rotten, I've removed it. Then used some woodworking tools just to continue to scrape and just to make sure that I'm getting rid of loose material and that I'm not leaving behind anything that's rotten. What I've also done, as you can see there, is I've opened up the cambium all the way around the edge of this wound, and the aim is that that will help it to just heal over and just roll over there, and this should help keep that from getting any infections in there while it slowly rolls over. And as you know, with a cut paste or cut putty, it dries off slowly and allows the tree to do the healing underneath it. Now what I'm going to do here, using this deadwood preserver, basically a linseed oil mix from Hazel Bonsai, you know I use that, and liberally apply it in this area here. And it's not a problem if it goes into the soil. I've been using it for 3 years now, and I've had no detrimental effects at all where it's touched live tissue or anything like that. So that's that done. And then the other sort of wound healing that we're looking at doing is on each of our branches where we've done these cuts. That was the original cut. I now want to try and get that a lot closer. The aim is that I can get that rollover happening much more closer in line with the branches that are coming out, so it looks more natural at least, rather than what we've got there is quite an ugly stub. Well, you want to be careful, you don't want to break your branch. And then going around with a Stanley knife, just to open up that cambium levels just on the corners, just to aid that heal over. If you can, what you do want to do is almost have that hollowed out a little bit. And so it's hopefully by using these concave cutters like that, you're creating a hollow that's going to allow that to roll in and not create a great big bulge. And that's what you need to do on all of these wounds. I've done it here and healed and put some cut paste in there. What we do need to do is the same thing with that one there. So I get my and for now, that's it. Now, I could use this ideally to show our primary branches because they're staring us in the face. But to finish this little session off, should we go to the maple? But first of all, what we do need to do is have a look over it. It's been 4 weeks that I've been filming this for. And in that time, we've had, if you look in there, lots of new shoots come up at junctions. We've got dead stumps or areas where there's been a lot of dieback, and before I actually select which of my shoots, primarily my strongest ones, are going to be used, let's clear up all the rubbish. So what's to do? Well, I've really now got to decide what I'm keeping. By the way, it's worth noting there's a number of people who said that the Osaka maple has big leaves. Ideally, we'll be looking at little ones like this, you know, inside the palm of my hand. But for reference, these are the size of the ones that have just been pruned off. Literally, they are fully the size of my palm. So we can definitely get a difference in leaf size for sure. Now, the first thing I'm going to deal with is the most obvious. It's the top of the tree. As I said, we've got small amount of taper, but we've got right here a very long, straight section with very little coming from it. And for the top of the tree, for me, under my perspective, that's no good. So I've got to look back and go, I've actually got a shoot here. I've got a shoot here, which I like and is thicker. And potentially, I've got a little shoot here. Now, with that great length gone from the top, that means that energy is definitely going to be shooting here. We may also find that energy is directed to this shoot here. And don't be surprised if right here, where the last thing to know was, we get a nice, useful bud coming out during the year at some point, and it'll be something that will be developed over 2027. Now, the next choice is actually a little bit more difficult because as we follow the branch up on the right-hand side, and this is the primary branch that's coming off, I'm actually looking for good secondary structure. Now, in this instance, I'm also considering the option of this lower shoot here. I've got one here, which has got a lot more taper going from this to this, and then potentially have another shoot coming out here. And that just means I can potentially take the top off and lower the height of that first branch. So time and time again, I keep saying to you, it's about personal preference. Some of the choices I make, you may not like. But the good thing about a healthy maple is it's always going to give you new options the following year once you do pruning. Now you'll know from episode 1 that one of the big issues I had was this branch here at right angles to the trunk and extended quite a long way out this way. I cut it back partially. Well, I've just cut it back probably another 2 or 3 inches, all the dead area, and I've got it nicely sealed. And what you'll notice is if we've got a shoot from down underneath, we've got a lovely shoot right at the junction here, which is one of the things I was hoping for, because it's also pointing upwards. And then if we go to this side, we've actually got a shoot from the tip. I don't like the underneath one because it's not looking very healthy. So I'm going to make the decision on my preference to remove the one that's underneath. I need a lot of healing to happen here, so this one has got to be allowed to extend a long way. But because of the rate that it's actually thickening, there is one thing that we definitely need to do with both this branch and a couple of the others that I've decided to keep. More of that in a moment. 2 shoots on this side. It may be that just need to slow the growth, and to that end I think all I'm going to do is exactly that. These are I mean, if you look at them, they're massive internodes, so what I want the tree to do is to give me new buds at these little points here. So I've got myself some I don't know, this thickness of wire, whatever thickness that is I've got. The wire test fit's going to be good enough. Certainly from experience I know it will be. But if you push it and the wire doesn't bend, then it's going to be strong enough to actually hold and actually put some movement in the branch. Bring it up. Because I'm bringing it down, I want to take it over the top of the branch that I'm going to be affecting. That means as it bends down, we've actually got a bite of wire that's going to stop it pushing up. I think hopefully you can see, there we do. All I've done is just slight downwards there, and the one at the back, again, I've just put downwards and a bit of movement across so it takes it away from here. This is the framework. This is basically the primary branches as I see them. A couple of secondaries at the top. There may be changes in 2027, but for me that's about as far as I go. I'm now looking for this and indeed the others to continue to put on growth over the next 2 to 3 months. I won't do any pruning on them now until leaf drop, when we'll revisit these and see if there's anything that needs to be done before it goes into winter dormancy. So I think with that, probably a good time just to revisit the 3 other hazel, for which I've done all the same steps for, and see what you think of them. This is the hazel. Remember, there's 2 that are actually together by the look of it, and I've clipped a lot back, and what I've done is created 2 branches here. They've been wired and shaped. 2 primary branches here, wired and shaped. We've only got 1 here at the back. Hopefully we'll get some buds coming here that'll allow me to create the second branch that I need from it. So they're all wired out, and I think immediately you look at it and go, so your tree's going to be this high, why have I got this great big thing here? So there it is, and I will just let that grow right through the rest of the year. This is the deadwood area, that's all dried off. I'll probably do more work on that later. But that is the basic primary structure set and ready for 2027. Second hazel again, 2 branches, 2 branches, 2 branches here and a couple of branches here with wire, just to give that basic structure that I want to take this forward. This I really like the look of, especially when we take off the big root that's right at the front. And probably it's a good point to recognise is that this one actually was pruned probably about 3 weeks ago now, and we've already got lots of new fresh shoots coming out, which of course reminds me of the ongoing work you should be doing right through the summer with these. You want energy going just to the shoots you've spent the time developing, so continue to go around, get rid of suckers and new shoots that start showing. And it's a bit like your maples. The more you do here now, then the more work you save yourself in the long term. But I think this, I think this is going to be another cracking bonsai. Which of course brings us to this last hazel, which has got this lovely shari out of the main trunk. Did a little bit of work on that, lots more to do. But as you can see already, since I did that work, we've had these new shoots growing out. I've lightly wired this one, and we've got this shoot here, not quite sure where we're going, and lots of new buds coming up here. Stuff here as well. This is all brilliant. We've got stuff lower down here. There may be, so there's lots of options I'm going to have, probably when we get to the autumn time. And I absolutely love this. And I'm more and more inclined to think that if this branch continues to grow, that we'll remove this one entirely. Don't know whether this has a future yet, but with that gone, that thickened up, again, I think we've got another future with the right development bonsai show tree. So that's 3 yamadoris and 1 nursery purchased maple. All of them have finished year 1 of their bonsai journey, and hopefully from that you've understood and picked up the way to apply basically to anything, certainly deciduous, trunk, taper, wound healing. Look at your relevant thicknesses, pick out your primary branches, and then fertilize, fertilize, fertilize. And I tell you what, 6 months later, these will be something worth looking at, I'm sure of it. So really all that's left to say is if you want to remind yourself the fun I had actually recovering and retrieving these yamadori hazel, then that's the video to watch. Otherwise, happy bonsai and God bless. Cheers.